President of the Republic of Burundi and Chair of the African Union, Your Excellency, Heads of State and Government, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you for the opportunity for South Africa to present the key outcomes of South Africa's presidency of the G20 that was held in Johannesburg, becoming the very first G20 Leaders Summit held on African soil. The key milestone of the summit was the adoption of what we would call an ambitious leaders' declaration, where we were able to get the G20 countries, bar two, to vote unanimously for the adoption of the declaration right at the beginning of the summit. We were honored to have the attendance of the African Union, represented by President Lorenzo, the then chairperson of the African Union Assembly, and His Excellency Chair of the African Union Commission, and the regional heads of states and some countries in the SADC region. South Africa's G20 presidency took place against a backdrop of heightened geopolitical fragmentation and persistent global economic uncertainty, coupled with weakening multilateral consensus. South Africa's presidency was tested diplomatically by the actions of some to undermine our presidency and the Leaders Summit. We would like to thank our sister countries in Africa and indeed other G20 countries for having given South Africa's presidency their support in making the summit successful. The G20 process involves the holding of some 130 meetings leading to the Leaders Summit. We were able to hold 3 meetings on the African continent, in Cairo, in Abuja, and here in Addis Ababa. South Africa's G20 presidency developed a theme which we dubbed Solidarity, Equality, and Sustainability. This theme was our rallying call in the quest to ensure that the voices of Africa and the Global South were amplified globally. The G20 summit highlighted the importance of multilateralism and that it is relevant and capable of delivering results, and that it is also a most powerful instrument to end conflict, advance peace, reduce inequality, and secure sustainable development, much as this type of multilateral consensus is under strain and is being weakened by powerful countries. A central achievement of our presidency was the commissioning of 2 expert reports of significance, one on global inequality and the other one on debt. The first one was led by Professor Joseph Stiglitz on inequality, which examined the structural drivers of global inequality and recommends the establishment of an international panel on inequality to provide independent, evidence-based guidance to countries, governments, and international institutions on how to reduce inequality in the world. We will seek endorsement of this panel report at the 81st session of the United Nations General Assembly, and we would like to count on the African Union member states to support. The second report was a report on growth, debt, and development, which was produced by a panel of African experts. Developing country debt is one of the kernel of this important report. The Africa Expert Report offers a high-level summary on debt and contains straightforward recommendations such as practical reforms to sovereign debt resolution. The report further calls for greater use of special drawing rights to expand long-term financing. The Leaders' Declaration adopted reflects a shared determination to accelerate progress towards sustainable development goals. It contains commitments to supporting vulnerable economies, to strengthening disaster resilience, to scaling up reconstruction efforts, and to mobilize significant greater finance to finance climate and energy transition. It emphasizes the natural endowments of countries, including critical minerals, that these must be used as catalysts for prosperity and sustainable development. This is of particular interest and significance to our continent. The Africa 10-year Infrastructure Investment Plan is a strategic continental blueprint developed under the G20 presidency. Two flagship initiatives, namely the G20 Africa Cooperation Agenda and the Africa Engagement Framework, will support continental efforts. Debt sustainability, the high cost of capital, infrastructure funding gaps, and financial exclusion are just some of the economic challenges facing our continent. In 2025, we welcomed the Republic of Zambia and Angola as the newest members of the G20 Compact with Africa. Our G20 presidency was further characterized by strong partnerships and dialogue with a wide range of actors. We also held the G20 Social Summit, which was widely praised for its inclusivity and commitment to ensuring that all voices are heard. Hence, it became known as the People's G20 Summit. My report today is to be considered together with the draft decision on the outcomes of South Africa's G20 presidency that South Africa has proposed for adoption by this Assembly. We thus call on the Assembly to endorse this decision. South Africa hosted the summit, but all of Africa shares in its success. We have together demonstrated that Africa can lead at the highest level of global governance with vision, substance, and principle. The reforms we have advanced, the partnerships we have strengthened, and the initiatives we have launched must translate into measurable progress for our continent. I wish to conclude by thanking the African Union member states and the African Union Commission, the chairpersons of the heads of the regional economic communities, and the AU agencies and entities, including AUDA, NEPAD, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, the African Development Bank, and UNECA, for their active and valuable contributions to the success of South Africa's G20 presidency. We believe that South Africa's G20 presidency truly elevated Africa's global standing and showcased Africa's leadership. It reaffirmed that Africa is a central architect of global solutions. It ensured that Africa's voice is heard, its priorities respected, and its future secured. So we are eternally grateful for the support we receive from the AU to chair the G20. And thank you very much.